From the Washington editor of The Nation, Chris Hayes. Chris, welcome to the conversation. We're going to go over our must-read op-eds now.
How's it going?
It's just fine.
It's fun. It's lots of fun.
No reading your Twitter page today.
Do our first read.
All right. Wall Street Journal, Cheney's revenge. Interesting. As long as George W. Bush and Dick Cheney were responsible for keeping Americans safe, Democrats could pander to the U.S. and European left's anti-terror views at little political cost. But now that they are responsible, American voters are able to see what the left really has in mind, and they are saying loud and clear that they prefer the Cheney method.
Hey, Chris, a lot of people on the left
Really?
concerned that Obama's administration is actually following Dick Cheney's approach to the war on terror too closely. Explain.
Well, I mean, look, there's been more continuity than anyone, I think, in the sort of civil libertarian left, the ACLU, people at my magazine would like. I mean, there's talk of indefinite detention. We have a whole sort of network of detention centers in Afghanistan with very little legal disclosure about what's going on there. But what's really interesting, and I think awful, as symbolized in that Wall Street Journal editorial, is that, you know, things moved all the way over here during the last administration. And what you're seeing is a sort of status quo inertia, how much people are fighting to make sure nothing gets moved back and actually keep moving forward. So, case of Miranda, right? Bush administration with Dick Cheney sitting there was Mirandizing routinely. Richard Reed was Mirandized, and all of a sudden now they want to move the goalpost even further to right and say that you can't Mirandize someone that you arrest. So it's a really worrying trend that there never ever seems to be an endpoint at which you are sufficiently, you know, tough on terror.
Well, and the president has backed down on his pledge, obviously, to shut down Gitmo in a year. He backed down on his pledge to try KSM in New York that he and Holder were talking about doing. Have they realized with Scott Brown's victory and all the polls showing that Americans don't want terror suspects Mirandized, whether Bush did it or not? Is he just realizing that he made promises in the campaign that he can't keep?
Well, no. I mean, first of all, let's be clear about what public opinion data says. It's unclear that there's a sort of strong public opinion on whether terror suspects should be Mirandized. And I should say, you know, more significantly...
Wait. Let me stop you there, Chris. Do you have any evidence of that? Because I guarantee you, if I were running for public office right now, that would be the... If I wanted to get a cheap applause line, that would be the applause line I would use. Because Americans do not want terror suspects Mirandized.
Emphasis there right on cheap, though. I mean, the point is that Americans might want everyone arrested punched in the face. The fact of the matter is the Constitution doesn't allow it. And so Mirandizing isn't something that we put to a plebiscite. It's actually embedded in our constitutional set of protections. There are things that are unpopular about that, but that's what actually having a system of rights and legal protection means.
Let me ask you, Chris, is giving terror suspects from other continents embedded in our Constitution?
Yes, it is. Look, this is a really important point to hammer home. The Constitution does not, the legal protections in the Constitution does not simply apply to citizens. This is absolutely 1,000% settled law. And what's happened very strangely in this discussion is somehow this very settled law, talk to any legal scholar, the 14th Amendment means that it moves to everyone who's picked up and arrested. If you are an illegal immigrant and you are caught for drunk driving, you are afforded constitutional protections.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
Did we Mirandize Nazi prisoners of war?
I don't know if we Mirandize Nazi prisoners of war.
But I mean, we've never done this before. I know Bush did it, but that doesn't make it right. We've never. And again, I guess, Chris, this is the discussion we should have. Actually, and I want you back when we have it. We need to get some law professors around this table, because I believe that in this war of terror, and I think in part, Chris, because we're muddling through this, because this isn't a clean war like World War II, where there's a start and there's an end. I think we're still trying to figure out what the rules of the game are, and I think you may be right. Maybe Bush and Cheney went too far one way, and maybe Obama and Holder are going too far, are trying to go too far the other way. Mort?
Right, but all I would say is that if that's your contention, which I disagree with, but if that's your contention, the Mirandizing can't be the point at which they're trying to move too far, right? I mean, that's just the thing to keep it front and center in this whole discussion.
No, I think that when you Mirandize an enemy combatant that is trying to destroy, kill Americans and blow up American buildings and aren't American citizens, No, I have no interest in applying Miranda rights to that person.
Should Timothy McVeigh been Miranda?
Timothy McVeigh was an American citizen, my man. Big difference.
No, the Supreme Court does allow for a different set of rules to apply to war criminals. It is not the same as having those same rules applied to the American citizenry.
Let me let Chris have the last word.
Final word, real quick.
Go ahead, Chris, and we want to keep you along so we can talk about some other things, like your favorite topic, Sarah Palin. Go ahead.
Look, the whole point is a war criminal is not determined prior to due process. So you cannot just say prior to the actual constitutional due process, dub someone a war criminal and then deny them the due process that's required by the Constitution.
We are, and let me just say, I want to follow up on this. We are, again, muddling through this. Right. A lot of people, Chris, obviously, very concerned about the Constitution and security. We're concerned about the security and the Constitution. We really do need to have an extended conversation about this, because there are good people on both sides of this point of view, and we've got to figure out what the new rules of the game are 9 years after 9/11.
At least. When we come back, Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell